Hi, everyone. A very happy new year. We are excited to be back after our break for the holidays. At the Mobile UA show, we had a great 2022 with some amazing guests that shared their hard-earned insights and ideas with us. We took a ton of notes, and we are excited to kick off 2023 with our iconic prediction series, the Mobile Growth Crystal Ball. This year, we have forecasts from pioneers in the industry like Peggy Anne Salz, Reggie Singh of Adjust, Bessie Byeon of Liftoff, Bauer from Branch, Nataliia Drozd of Fabulous, Tchernahovsky of Applovin, and Marianne Clerc from Adikteev. Our guests today will speak about a range of topics and the outlook they see for all of these in 2023, including UA, media mix modeling, UGCs, measurement models, SKAN 4.0, and much, much more. Check out this episode to learn what our amazing guests are looking forward to in 2023 and what they think the crystal ball holds for all of us. Peggy Anne Salz is one of the most influential speakers in the mobile marketing space and is the chief analyst and founder at Mobile Groove. In today's segment, Peggy talks about marketers working with incomplete data and how that's going to be much more the norm as we go forward.
Hello, I'm Peggy Anne Salz. I'm a writer, strategic content marketing consultant, in-demand online talent with 4 podcasts and videocasts and counting, as well as contributing to Forbes and also to a variety of other media outlets where I share my insights on customer experience, innovation, how brands and marketers can grow through building trust and driving loyalty. And that's why, in line with these interests, my focus for 2023 is about that. How can marketers grow? But in this case, growing through understanding, I guess, their limitations, you could say. We are dealing with incomplete data sets. But what I am excited about is innovation in marketing, because marketers are developing their own blended metrics. They're developing new metrics, and they're understanding that it's a core requirement in 2023 and beyond to continue to do so. It's something I'm experiencing firsthand. For example, many of the marketers I've interviewed are telling me about their approaches and how they're looking at new metrics. I'm really excited because one of these marketers is going to be on my podcast. She has already been on the Mobile Heroes Uncensored podcast. So I have to say, a special place in my heart, a special place in my ranking even, is Philippa Leyburn from Trailmix, because what she's done is she's come up with metrics that tell her this is how the player engagement is developing. This measures the performance of my campaign to drive CTAs. And so she's come up with, for example, hook rate. Hook rate, it's her invention. That's what all marketers need to be doing, inventing. And her invention is about saying, when I notice that a player has been looking at a video ad for a certain number of seconds, then this is an indication to me of a behavior and something I can build on. Now, that's just one example, but I've seen a number of other marketers out there talking about how they are blending metrics and looking at different ways to use the data, because, hey, that's where it starts, right? You have to accept how things are, and then you can change and adapt. So there it is, 2023. Unlock your inner data scientist, figure out some metrics that work for your app, and open the aperture of how you see data, layer on different layers, and go out there and grow.
Reggie Singh is the Director of Partnership Americas at Adjust and currently manages all SKAN relationships to ensure product and GTM alignment. He's worked in mobile for almost 10 years now.
Hey everyone, my name is Reggie Singh and I am the Director of Partnerships at Adjust. My prediction for 2023 is that we will be seeing a lot more companies focus much more on strategic budget planning and forecasting than we have ever seen in the past. Historically speaking, mobile marketers tend to be really focus on historical numbers such as ad spend, ROAS, user acquisition numbers, etc., versus planning ahead and much more strategic planning. That being said, coming out of the pandemic the last 2 years and the macroeconomic environment that we're seeing moving into 2023, I do predict that you're going to see a resurgence of things like media mix modeling as a way to determine the impact of marketing tactics on various business objectives. That will be coupled a lot with the historical data that we have been seeing. So it's very supplementary to the things that we have historically done, but we need to try new tactics. Not only are we seeing the macroeconomic issues and coming out of the pandemic, but we're also seeing a lot of changes in privacy. So that being said, we need to, as mobile marketers, look at new tactics and new approaches than we have historically ever seen. And media mix modeling is a great approach in supplementing your traditional tactics. It's a great way to also see the impact of non-traditional media channels such as connected TV, which we're seeing a huge resurgence in, podcasts, and other digital out-of-home types of marketing. Thank you.
Bessie Byeon is the Senior Director of Global Marketing at Liftoff. Today, Bessie is going to talk about how SKAN 4.0 will unfold over the next year with possibly more granular data than is available now. And she talks about all that this will imply for marketers as we go forward.
SKAN 4.0 is here, and it may get marketers more granular data than before, but it will probably take months before they can actually capitalize on these new features. So we will see more marketers prioritizing first-party data to get ahead of the game in 2023. And it will probably include relying more heavily on machine learning to optimize campaigns using first-party data. So targeting the most valuable users with the best LTV is immensely benefited by implementing a first-party strategy. So tools like Liftoff LTV Optimize use first-party data to teach ML models how to really target the same kind of users proven to convert on their unique app. And they can make the most of their first-party data by more accurately and effectively targeting their most valuable users. So optimizing their campaigns for the LTV windows that fits their business needs and generating the most revenue for their mobile campaigns. And another trending strategy for next year will be differentiated ad creatives. So in a privacy-centric era, we're really limited in what insights we get, and most of which are really upper funnels. So most impactful thing on upper funnel metrics like CPM, ITI, CPI is actually creatives because they're the first things users see. So as a marketer, the better the creative performs, the more installs you will get. And with SKAN 4.0, the more installs you get, the more granular data they will give you. And more install really means lower censorship rates.
Alex Bauer is the head of product and market strategy at Branch and is one of the most authoritative figures on all things iOS and privacy changes. In today's episode, he talks about how measurement is going to evolve in the coming year.
My prediction for 2023 is that we'll see a growing split between in-channel and holistic measurement solutions. Over the last couple of years, we've seen measurement and user privacy becoming increasingly inseparable, and this has been driving a shift away from universal unique identifiers like GAIDs or IDFAs or even third-party cookies. And I think this will continue in 2023. So some of the key things to keep an eye on are the SKAdNetwork 4.0 rollout, Google beginning testing on Android privacy sandbox, and of course more regulations and enforcement, particularly in the EU, for example. And as a result of this, I think we'll start to see a separation between in-channel measurement techniques and holistic measurement solutions. So by in-channel, I mean frameworks like SKAdNetwork. These are great for tactical uses within a single marketing channel, like how much do I pay my ad network this week? But they really don't help marketers understand how their relative investments across different channels are performing. So new iteration around holistic measurement solutions is what's going to bring back that cross-channel view that marketers need in order to make strategic investment decisions. An early contender here that has been getting a lot of attention is next generation media mix modeling, but I think it's still early days and there's a lot to be uncovered here.
Nataliia Drozd is the marketing and UA lead at Fabulous, a health platform based in Paris. In today's segment, Nataliia talks about how data use is going to change and evolve. She talks about the role of Facebook going forward and how a lot of apps are going creative first.
Hello, this is Nataliia Drozd, and I am happy to share a couple of my thoughts about UA in 2023. First of all, privacy is here to stay, and privacy-centric world is the new reality we have to live in. iOS have already done their change with IDFA depreciation, and Google is on its way to do so as well. So it's crucial for us as marketers to know and to learn how to live in the data-driven environment and how to work with different multiple traffic sources and data sources. Unfortunately, we don't have only first-party data. You need to know all the caveats of the data you have and how to work with them. Second of all, in terms of the general outlook of the industry, Facebook is still here and it's working relatively well. It suffered a lot after Apple's iOS 14, but it's still the biggest player in the game. TikTok, on the other hand, is becoming a standard channel in the channel mix for many advertisers, and we don't have cheap inventory there anymore. So this benefit of all the first people, the pioneers, is already over, and people need to work hard to make things work on TikTok as well. So what do we have? We also have recession, we have company layoffs, and pretty tougher marketing environment. So 2023 will be a year for many companies to actually think if their products bring value. People cannot rely anymore on just acquisition without retention, just because it's getting easier to manage your subscription and payments, and people are not that easily trapped into subscription problems they used to have, especially back in the days before iOS 13. So for 2023, first of all UA people have to be data-driven and data literate. Secondly, creative is still king, and it's becoming more and more important, because with less data on user performance after the install, it's very important to capture user attention. Creative-wise, we are also shifting more from static images to videos, just because this type of consumption of content is also growing rapidly. Therefore, even companies where statics have always been the primary and dominant type of placements are switching more to animation and video content. And in terms of video content, it can be super diverse, from some beautiful animations and high quality made videos up to UGC, which is also getting very popular and actually very, very, very accessible, with different platforms where you can buy high quality user generated content for cheap. Over for 2023, we have to be super resilient, because a lot of changes are coming, a lot of uncertainties here, but after every recession, there's an increase. It's just a question for us as marketers, what we will learn from this new challenging period we are facing today.
Daniel Tchernahovsky is Applovin's Vice President of International Business Development. In today's segment, he talks about how game developers and publishers are finding ways to monetize the user base in interesting and unconventional ways.
Hey everybody, my name is Daniel Tchernahovsky and I'm the VP of Global BD at Applovin. Applovin is a company that helps developers and publishers grow and monetize their apps and businesses using our market-leading solutions, among which are App Discovery, which is our UA tool, and Max, which is our mediation platform, both of which are the biggest in the industry today. So my prediction for 2023 is that we'll see more and more developers and publishers come up with more creative ways of monetizing their user base, combining both ad revenue and IP revenue in the same game. Today, for context, if we look at the charts, we'll see top grossing charts, which are dominated by developers that exclusively monetize with ads. And we'll see top downloaded ranks where most apps are exclusively monetized with ads. At the same time, some of these users that are downloading these ad-driven games are willing to spend money on IPs, and some of the user base that is playing these IP games won't ever spend money by IP, but could still be monetized with ads. Now, hybrid monetization isn't per se a new topic in our industry and has been a buzzword for quite a few years. But the rapid growth that we've seen in the industry has led to us historically sticking to our guns, which is what we've seen in the charts today. The conversation that we're now having with publishers has shifted in tone, maybe also because of the obstacles that many have faced in 2022, with monetization being down both in ad and IP revenue. So when we talk to these publishers, what we're hearing now more and more is them asking for advice on the IP side, for example, on how to leverage the knowledge and best practices of ad revenue players and figure out how to monetize their user base that isn't willing to spend money on the IP side. At the same time, we're talking to historically ad-driven game developers who are now trying to figure out new loops that are more complex in nature and are led to more IP purchases. So it's going to be interesting development to see, and I think it's only been encouraged by some of the biggest hits this year. If you look at some of the biggest games such as Survive.io or Stumble Guys, both of those have hybrid monetizations, and I expect more of those to come in the next year. Now, naturally, our industry has always differentiated itself by being not just incredibly creative, but also highly experimental and data-driven. So I'm very excited to see what the new year is going to bring, and I'm looking forward to some of these new creative titles.
Marianne Clerc is the Director of Operations at Adikteev, and she handles operations in EMEA and APAC regions. Today, Marianne talks about how retargeting is going to gain favor among marketers, and she also throws light on Google's privacy sandbox.
Hi, I'm Marianne Clerc, and I'm Director of Operations at Adikteev. So what's going to happen in 2023 for the mobile space? We could spend hours discussing this very interesting topic, but instead, and to make it shorter, I'll try to answer the two following questions. The first one is why retargeting is critical in the current market context. And the second one is about Google Privacy Sandbox, what it is and how we can best prepare for it. For our first point, retargeting would help all advertisers to retain their most valuable users, the highest spenders, allowing them to spend less on user acquisition and lose less money on potentially higher acquisition cost. The second point is about allowing app marketers to focus on high spending users rather than relying on unknown, so new users whose LTV hasn't been yet tested in the app. A third point regarding why retargeting is critical right now is about there might be potentially fewer competitors in the market. So it means that less competition for users who recently installed the app. A last point is that iOS is going a little bit better at the moment. For example, in May 2021, opt-in rates were around 16%. Now that number has grown to 25% a year later. Now let's move on to Google Privacy Sandbox. First of all, I'd like to say that Adikteev and Google are very close partners, and we've been working together for a while now. But what is Privacy Sandbox? We can describe it as an abstract of audience retargeting system that let advertisers still run retargeting, but without knowing who's who within the user list. Also, we move from basically a device ID to an audience targeting capability. Right now, how you can best prepare for it. You first need to discuss and build a prototype with your meta buyers for knowing how it work, all the plans, and how to prepare the best you can for it. Also, the Privacy Sandbox is still in beta, so anyone can use it to learn about how it will affect their business and how it works when it will be mandatory. Last point, make sure you have a resource available internally in your company to be able to be ready when it will be released. I wish you all the best for 2023, and I'm sure you will all rock it.
Thank you for listening to the Mobile User Acquisition Show. If any of this was helpful or instructive, I would love for you to leave us a review or rating on iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast fix. This podcast takes a ton of time, effort, and love to produce, and I deeply value every review and every piece of feedback that you share.
For more tips, pointers, and strategies from the leading edge of mobile user acquisition, subscribe to our YouTube channel right here, or check out our blog, rocketship.hq.com/blog.